Deanna Brocker is here. She is the Deputy of Strategy and Management Division.
Deputy Director.
Deputy Director.
Strategy.
Yeah, I got to get that in.
Yeah, you got to get that in. It's just a little,
Yes.
little piece. I am
And
here
so
at WATEC.
we're going to explore all things Strategy and Management Division. First, we want to talk about you.
Are you sure? Can we
Yes.
do the NASCIO top 10? Because I've been watching.
No.
It's super exciting.
We're talking about you and
This is way more exciting.
your background,
glad
how
you're
you
here.
got to WATEC, your division, and your team,
Yeah.
So talk about that. Talk about you.
Is that the question?
I know you love that. Yes.
No,
I know you love
you know it is my least favorite topic. I'd rather talk about strategic plans and lean implementation and service delivery. But I come to state government from higher ed. Actually, I spent about 10 years in higher ed. I worked at Texas A&M in San Antonio. I worked at Western Washington University up in Bellingham in the state of Washington. I am a Washington native, which I'm very, very, very proud of.
Yay. And your family too.
And my family too. Yes, I
Yeah.
still have family here. But I grew up in business in project management. That is kind of my bread and butter. I started actually back in the day when computer training was a thing, and you would go off to corporate offices and you would hold one-day classes for how to use Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. And then that, when people didn't really need that anymore, I went into writing books. So I've written books on how to use Microsoft Office products. And then when people stopped
Published.
buying,
We are in. We have a published author
published
here.
author.
Now
It's
I'm gonna
true.
Go Google. We need 5
Yeah.
copies.
The photos are a little bit old. So if you're going to post those, not the current photos. Yeah. So I published a couple books. And then when the internet took off, people aren't buying a whole lot of books on how to use Microsoft Office projects. So then I transitioned into project management, product management in publishing, in medical education, and then found my way through passion and service to the public sector. And I have been here ever since, and I love it.
Fantastic. And how long have you been at WATEC? And are you still considered new?
I am. I've been here 3 years, and I'm only new because I collect everybody else's new cards, as you know, as much as I can.
So, next question. Tell us about the Strategy and Management Division and some of the functions and things that you do, because it's all really, really important to the state.
It's important and it's exciting for me. So I think it's a nice fit for me. We have lots of disciplines within strategy and management. We have our IT portfolio management and technology business management discipline. We have WATEC's centralized project management office to support all of the amazing initiatives that we work on. We've got a large group around customer engagement. That's where WATEC's business relationship managers who support our state agencies are. That's where our governance support staff, two folks who support more than 15 boards and committees in the state, which is pretty amazing. And that's also where our expert project managers reside, who support the big projects. And then, of course, everybody's favorite unit, major IT project oversight for the state. Yeah.
That's where Amy started.
I did.
It is.
It's a tough role.
It is a tough
It's a
role.
worthy role, but it's a tough role.
Yeah. And then in our spare time, we take care of enterprise strategic planning for the state.
And you also take care of all the agencies.
the BRMs, the
BRM.
Business Relationship Managers.
Yeah.
Yep. We do. We try. We do our best.
Yes.
There's a lot of them.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
So, talk about a couple of those functions, but mainly talk about the strategic plan, because we reviewed the strategic plan last year in Coffee with Kehoe. I'm sure it went viral.
I think it did.
It did.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was
sure
very
did.
popular.
Yeah.
But the way that you went about pulling our leaders together on the business and the IT side, and putting
pretty
teams
cool.
together around the goals and how great and dynamic the goals are. I think that's something that all organizations could benefit from hearing about.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's something very powerful in the input of the collective across the state. And that's what we did. We did it I know you covered it last year. The strat plan went live in 2023. So we're getting ready to refresh it this year.
Yes.
Because you were very adamant that we not do a 5-year plan that sat on a shelf.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
said, I don't want it to be more than 2 years. I want to make sure it's dynamic and we're constantly revisiting it. I think that's a great thing. Although I'm very proud of the strat plan and I'm a little bit sad to.
How are we going to change
I don't know
those
how
great
it
goals?
It's so good.
Somebody asked me that the other day. It's like, these are such great goals. Are you going to change these?
Oh, they're so good, right? A
I
goal
thought we were
around-
just going to change the date. Because we're still working on them. Like, we're
We
making
are.
such
You can't call that an update.
good progress.
we're calling right. The goals are great. There's a goal around connected government. There's a goal around data, which is
Better,
everyone's
better,
favorite.
better.
For
Better data,
better,
better.
better.
Yeah.
Which that team would tell you is the best goal because it has the most betters in it.
Mm-hmm.
All data informed, of course. There's a goal around innovation, and of course, there's a workforce and
Mhm.
culture goal. So I think we cover all the areas, but how we got there was a process. It was about 9 months
Mm-hmm.
of really intensive feedback sessions where we invited every state agency, we invited institutions of higher education to come into multiple sessions, brainstorming sessions, where we said to them, think big, assume you resources and people, and you had zero constraints. What's your idea? What's your bold
Mhm.
future state? And we
Mhm.
got brainstorming. And then we asked them, okay, what are all the problems? And we got lots of feedback there, right? And then we took that back, we distilled it down, we asked them to come back into visioning sessions and said, okay, here are the 300 areas that we heard from all of you are really important. Let's now distill it down into some themes, which they did, into some goal statements. And then we brought them
It's fabulous.
back in
Yeah.
a third time and said, we want to make sure we got this right. And we got it down to from over 1,200 ideas to 11 goals and goal statements that we then took to our advisory group, which was a few members of WATEC leadership, a couple of members of leadership from other state agencies. And we had some very rousing and I would say professionally heated conversations.
Oh, I was in those.
You were in those.
I kind of had to back away at certain times because it was like 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals.
Yeah, but it's an interesting process. And it was the first time I'd been through such a collective, collaborative process.
There's a lot of passion, though, around
that's what's
where the
great
state was
about it.
going.
Words matter.
Yeah.
Words matter.
That's what it came down to, was really being able to
Yeah.
articulate what we meant and the passion
Yeah.
for what we were doing. And that
Yeah.
took the wordsmithing.
Yeah, do you remember the conversation just around the word innovation?
Yeah.
What does that
Mhm.
mean, especially in the context of IT? That was really fascinating to the point where we were all Googling what's the definition of innovation? And is that what we
Yeah.
mean here? Our goal 4, our cultural and workforce goal, which you know because you lead the goal team on that. That was very
That is the best goal.
well. What is the goal? Best workforce ever.
Ever.
Transform how we work. Best
Yeah.
workforce ever. And there was a lot of discussion, and people felt either very strongly one way or the other
Yes,
about
I
that
remember
statement.
that.
But what's interesting is I think that's what a strategic plan should evoke emotion. It should
Yeah,
evoke
and we-
passion. It
Set a
sh-
high bar.
It should set a really high bar. It should be
Mhm.
so aspirational that it allows people to be creative with the initiatives that they align
Mhm.
under the strategic plan. So I'm very, very, very proud of that plan. It is definitely, at the point that we released it, was a crowning achievement
Right.
of my career. And now we're going to try to top it this year.
It should be. It's a beautiful thing, not only the process, but Bill, you and I have had the opportunity over the last couple of years to present to
Mhm.
like an Australian delegation. What's the other
Yeah.
one?
Canadian.
Canadian.
Yeah.
And one of the things we always include is the enterprise strategic plan. And they followed up with, they thought that was the coolest plan.
Because it
says
wasn't so
IT.
techy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anybody could
Yeah.
pick it up and it resonated if you were in, government or public service. And so I think that's a great testament
Yeah.
to the work that culminated in that plan.
Yeah.
So talk to
well
us about
done.
the goal that you're leading
Yeah. Big.
and kind of how you put teams together, but specifically the team around your goal, goal 1.
Yeah.
And how you're tying initiatives and measuring progress,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen a lot on strategic plans, by the way. They usually get created,
Yeah.
check the box,
Yeah.
go on the shelf. Oh, we got to go do
Get a
that
binder.
strategic plan thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to move from strategic planning to strategic execution, right? Otherwise,
yeah.
why are you doing it? So, the first goal, I think the goal you're referring to, is create a connected government that leaves no community behind. Which,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't know
It
that
doesn't get much better than that.
it doesn't.
Why
It's-
are we here if we're not in public service if we don't have a goal like that?
Right.
Right.
What are we doing?
But to Amy's point, it's not highly technical.
No.
It doesn't. I mean, one of the great initiatives, right, is our resident portal initiative.
I love that initiative.
Do you? Do you want to talk about it?
No. I don't want to occupy the whole podcast here, but yeah.
But just a little snippet of it.
No, it's a in Washington, as in many governments, our residents have to go to many places to get the services and find the services they need.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they're in their personal lives, they go to Amazon and all these other apps where everything is contained, all the friction is removed.
Mm-hmm.
But yet there's so much friction in government in their digital experience and their office experience. And so every channel seems to have a lot of friction.
Yep.
And we're trying to remove that and put accessibility and equity and reach all communities through this resident portal so that people can go to one place, it's personalized for them, and they can easily get the services that they want, and also gives them opportunity to say, hey, you might be eligible for this service and this service, and gives them a better experience and for themselves and their families in terms of receiving the services they need. So
Yeah.
I'm just like over the moon passionate about this.
But so it's an important. So that's one initiative that this goal team is tracking. And the reason I wanted you to talk about it is we're also tracking other related initiatives. So there is a goal team, a multi-agency, multidisciplinary goal team. It's not just IT leaders. We have a lot of
which I
business
think has
leaders.
been fantastic.
Yeah, we have business leaders. We actually have people from all levels of government who come together a couple of times a month and talk about what are the tactical steps that we can take that further this goal. One is tracking the progress of the resident portal goal, which is super important. But another is streamline digital services. So we're tracking other areas, maybe even smaller initiatives where we're streamlining services. There's a whole key result around human-centered design, which is massive right now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? If we're not
Talking to the customer.
well, and it's about the feeling that the customer has when they interact with our services, which is highly important. I mean, I'm sure that you both know a lot about business process mapping, where we pull out Visio and we put in the process flow diagrams and we say, here's step one, and then step two, it goes to another department, and then step three, and you look for circular processes because those are probably places where things get bunched up a little bit or where the process is ripe for error. But at no point in traditional business process mapping have we said, what is the customer's experience? Which is something I'm really passionate about. How
That's
does the
fantastic.
customer feel when they get moved from this step to this step to this step?
Yeah.
So that's what customer journey mapping does. And a big part of that is once we understand how the customer feels, what do we want that experience to be based on what it is? What do I want that change to be? And that's where human-centered design comes in. Now we're going to design something using plain language, things that make sense, all the accessibility standards, right? So that we are actively designing to the customer experience and the feeling.
I heard this great phrase a few weeks ago. It's like we're gonna design with you, not for you.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've been doing in government. We know what our residents need, so we don't need to ask them, right? But if we design with them, we use human-centered design, we have the conversations, we understand the pain points, we can design with them and create a better experience.
Yeah, I think it's about curiosity, right? We think we know. Again, I think we have a lot of really hardworking, great people in state government who are really well-meaning, who have a lot of experience, who have dealt with our customers for a very, very long time and know how a lot of them feel. And times change.
Yeah.
And our customers change and residents change. They move in and out or they age or whatever. And so their requirements change. And I think if we're not continually going back and saying, how do you feel now? How is this working for you now? I think we're missing the mark.
Okay, last question on our great strategic plan. How are we measuring progress and how are we doing? How are we making progress in these 4 goals?
Yeah, I think we're making progress. I think this is we've set up goal teams. You talked about the best workforce ever goal team, yours, and then the connected government. There are multi-agency goal teams around each of the goals that are meeting on a regular basis. That's also a really new technique for a lot of folks that we work with. And so with everything new, it just takes a little bit of time to build that muscle. So right now, we spent the first year, building the muscle of let's get together and let's talk about solutions that are across agencies. Let's talk about solutions that are for the enterprise, not for an individual agency. Those are, I'm new. I'm gonna play my new card. I'm new to state government, right? But I was told a lot in those meetings last year. This is amazing. We haven't had these conversations before. Like I kept being told, understand that the change that's happening, although you don't see it yet in the measurements, we feel it. Those of us that have been here a long time, we feel it a lot in the conversations that we're having. So that's a really, I wish you can't really measure that, but that is one of those qualitative measurements that we're changing the way that agencies interact with each other. So that was step one. Step two is this year where we're putting in a formal objective and key result and key performance indicator framework. And I know that you tease me a lot about all the acronyms, OKRs and KPIs. And I come up with acronyms just so you ask me what they are.
OKR.
OKR.
I thought it was a vegetable.
OKRs and KPIs. So each goal team has come up with a set of objectives. That's the O and the OKR, right? They came up with those last year. That was the result of all of their conversations.
It was a great methodology, yeah.
It was great, right? And so now we're taking those objectives a step further. Like say you take streamlined digital services for the connected government goal. That's the objective. Now I've got a set of key result that I can measure based on that. So in this case, one of the key results is around human-centered design principles being implemented in applications or system implementations. And how we measure that through KPIs is very, very simple. How many agencies across the state are implementing human-centered design in their technology projects? Right. That's a simple survey. Number of is not a great KPI. Doesn't tell us a whole lot. But number of with other measures, like a survey that says, what are your customers saying about when you've used human-centered design?
Yeah.
Right.
How are you seeing, what are the
Impacts
changes?
and
Or the
outcomes
results of
and-
your interactions. Like how
Yeah.
have you taken the results of your human-centered design interactions and
Right.
applied them to your program, your
Yes.
policy, your project?
Right. And what has that done to your customer satisfaction score, for instance, right? So the KPIs are intended to be a holistic view. So I tell everybody an O to a KR to a KPI is not a one-to-one relationship. An objective to a key result, that's a one-to-many relationship. One objective, several key results. That's your OKR. An OKR to a KPI is a one-to-many relationships. I should have 3 to 5 KPIs measuring how I'm doing with each OKR. So that, again, I have that holistic view, and I'm not just measuring number of meetings, number of surveys. Which doesn't, that tells us
inputs.
It tells us a little, but I need it in context and weighted. Honestly, each KPI. being
Well, we
weighted.
appreciate you bringing that discipline and all the great work on strategic planning.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Yes. So we're going to shift now to our theme for this year at WATEC, which is service excellence.
Yes.
And the first phone call I made when I looked for someone to lead service excellence was to Deanna.
Was I the first?
Yes.
I did not know that. Did you know that? You did.
It's
And
a good
I said-
choice.
Oh, thank you.
I said,
Who
you're the
else?
one that needs to lead us on this,
Uh-huh.
right? With all your background and expertise and what strategy and management does for us.
Do you remember what I said?
You said, I would be happy to.
I think I did. I don't think I groaned.
In
I
fact,
think I said
no,
yes.
I think I said, you said, now that I'm not new anymore, and I have so much experience, I do see why you chose
I'm your
me.
person.
Yeah. And I'm excited about it. You said you were excited.
I am
Yeah.
excited about
So
it.
how are we approaching it and why are we doing this?
Oh my gosh, we're doing a lot of things. So step one is to formalize the discipline of tracking customer satisfaction. Another acronym, CSAT,
Oh yeah.
and Net Promoter Scores, NPS,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which are in and of themselves KPIs. I'm gonna throw as many acronyms as you as I can. So WATEC does a good job of tracking customer satisfaction at the agency level. We sent out a survey. We ask our customers how we're doing. We get qualitative feedback in the form of comments. We get quantitative feedbacks in the 1 to 5. How would you rate your satisfaction with WATEC services? That's great at the WATEC level, but it's hard as leadership to drill down to where are the pain points for our customers, right?
Mhm.
Why did WATEC get a 3 in this area? Is that because of one particular area, or is that across the board? So what we're working on this year is doing CSAT and NPS at the service level
Mm-hmm.
for internal and external services. And that's a big part of it.
And we have a lot of services and programs.
We have a lot of, yes, right. And so the challenge is doing that without causing survey fatigue in our customers. So that's the challenge that's on the table in front of us. And I think I told you I'm excited because these are really cool challenges to work on. I don't know what the solution is yet, right? But I know there is one, and I know we have the right team to find it. Just a matter of digging down. So that's so that the setting targets around customer satisfaction at NPS. And if we could let's just talk about NPS for a minute. So Net Promoter Score is how likely are your customers to talk favorably about you to another customer, to promote your services and say, hey, you should go take advantage of those services. That's a challenging thing in state government where a lot of our agencies don't have an option to work with us or not.
Right.
They kind of have to. So it seems like why would it matter if agencies were promoting you? Well, it matters because you want customers, whether they have to work with you or not, speaking favorably about you as opposed to unfavorably. And that's what the Net Promoter Score tracks. So that's very, very exciting, right?
Yes.
So that's the first one.
Now, talk about the why. Why are we doing this service excellence theme? And with all the constraints on budget and everything else, how is this going to help us?
So a little controversial thought here.
Yeah. Well, this is the
Let's do
podcast
it,
of
yeah.
controversy. Right?
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think that we should be going for service excellence, whether we had budget constraints.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? We should be
But
continually trying to do
we're
better.
focused a lot more on it now. Which you're right. We should be doing this.
We
all
should
the
be.
time.
We should be doing it all
Yeah.
the time. So never let a good crisis go to waste, right? So the fact that we do have this budget crisis in front of us, and there is an opportunity to do things more efficiently and still provide the same level of services to our customers, it certainly is a prime time to roll this out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We've also worked on culture change initiatives. Let's be honest, at WATEC for the last 3.5 years. And so the second part of what we're doing, right? You mentioned it, is the Lean initiative, rolling out Lean, really operationalizing Lean across WATEC.
That's going to be exciting.
It's amazingly exciting, right? And it's also very, very big. We just undertook an effort in the last 3 weeks to try to get a list of every single process across the agency. I was shocked at how many we had. I knew we had a lot, but I was shocked at the number of discrete processes that we were able to identify. And Lean is going to allow us to prioritize how we go through those processes, evaluate them for waste and possible efficiencies or cost savings, right? And then continue through the list. And I told you then, and I will keep saying when we talked about this in January, I don't know where we're going to be in December, but we are for sure going to be better than we are today. And
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be excited at that?
That's great. That's great.
That's the goal.
All right. So that's we could talk for a long, long time. But what are you most excited about in the next couple years for the state and for WATEC?
Wow, I was not prepared for that. What am I most excited about for the state and for
Yeah.
WATEC? I think I'll speak for WATEC. I won't speak for the state, but for WATEC, I think we are really at a pivotal turning point as an organization for moving from a really good, high-performing agency to an exceptional leader in
well
this,
said.
for not just for Washington, but for the nation. And I think that's super exciting to have the leadership support to go do better and reach for exceptional heights and to go talk about it across the nation. That's what I'm most excited about. You mentioned it. You talked about the strategic plan. That's something to be proud of. These things that we're doing as an agency collectively are things to be really, really proud of. And it's super fun.
We're not talking about it. We're doing it.
So fun.
It's so fun to
to be
go.
doing cool stuff. And
That doesn't mean it's
about it.
easy.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
But I think that we can impact the state,
Yeah.
Yes.
other agencies, right?
Yes.
Where
100%.
there's a lot
Who serve
of
our clients
concern,
or
a lot
our
of fear
residents.
going around. Right now, we've had a new governor, new administration, new ways of doing budgeting. We're in a budget crisis, but if we could stay positive, say, hey, we can still move forward. We can still move forward. Technology can help you. Then I think it's a huge opportunity for WATEC.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest today.
I made it
Thanks,
past
Deanna.
5 minutes.
You
Yes.
did.
That's
We'll have
great.
you back.
Oh, good.
That is Coffee with Kehoe for April of 2025. We had our first guest, and we're, I think, very successful. Thank you, Deanna. And catch us in May. Promise to be another exciting show. Thank you.